Welcome to the Exact Digital Podcast, the show where we dive into how digital marketing agencies are using paid media to drive real growth for their clients and for themselves. From planning to ROI and everything in between, we uncover the strategies, stories, and systems that set agencies apart. Each episode, we'll talk with agency leaders who are innovating with paid media, scaling their businesses, and delivering results that matter. Whether you're looking to expand your services or sharpen the edge of your current offerings, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Exact Digital Podcast, where we sit down with marketing leaders, agency founders, and growth-minded innovators to break down the strategies and mindset shifts shaping modern marketing trends today. Today, we're joined by Jessica Ellett from River City Consulting, where she helps businesses simplify their marketing, strengthen their brand, and drive meaningful growth through strategy and execution. Welcome to the show, Jess.
Thank
Can you
you.
share a little bit more about the work you guys do at River City Consulting?
Yeah, so our simplest phrase, if we were on an elevator with you, would be that we're a branding and advertising agency. We specialize really on the branding side, graphic design, really kind of helping businesses and nonprofits to identify who they are and showcase that through all of their everything, their logo, their marketing material, their website, all the things.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. We spoke earlier and you've had such a unique path to get to where you are, from Jenny Craig to radio, where we have a common connection, television, and now agency life. How did all of those experiences shape how you approach marketing today?
Well, it's interesting because the Jenny Craig side, I was really young and it was actually retail before that, kind of gave me the business side of it. And then when I went into the marketing part of it, I kind of understood how businesses operate from the inside out, which I think was really helpful. And then radio was so much fun. It was a medium that had really a very big place in marketing at one point. It's kind of changed a lot over the years, but I learned a lot about working with small to medium businesses, figuring out who to target, what stations made the most sense, different concepts for what would bring people through the door. That's our service dog wandering around behind me.
Love it.
Um, and then television kind of took that just to the next level. It's bigger budgets, it's bigger campaigns, it's bigger businesses. And that all really kind of gave me the platform to be able to come into an advertising agency and help people. What I love best about it is there's no agenda in what we do, where in television and radio, the agenda was obviously to sell them on what you were offering. And now we can kind of look at the big picture and really the world is our oyster. What would really benefit this client? And we don't have to have an agenda. So I love that part of it.
Yeah, no, that's so great. Your process, you mentioned just a second ago too about this emphasis on branding first, from logo to messaging to guidelines. So why is that foundation so critical before scaling into paid media or campaigns?
Right. Because if you're driving people to find out more about you and when they get there, it's a hot mess, you're really spending a lot of money to lose customers. So and it happens a lot with, I think, the service industry, home improvement, that kind of thing. They don't maybe put a lot into their look and feel, but it's a type of business that people really have to have a foundation of trust.
Yeah.
And there's reputation issues. And if they come to a website and they see something thrown together, they're going to probably be less inclined to spend $100,000 with your company. So we really believe that no advertising should happen until that foundation is really set. The other thing is a lack of consistency. When you are kind of DIYing a business in terms of marketing, if you have a logo that's stretched out, because it wasn't a proper file, or you've got one logo on your truck and a different logo on your website, subconsciously it does give people a feeling of mistrust because it's just a lack of consistency. So that's always where we start.
Yeah. Well, I was actually just going to ask you if there were any common branding mistakes that you see businesses making.
Yeah, that's a big one. There's a lot of options out there for people. They can get online and they can get a logo made from another country for, $100.
Yeah.
But what they're going to get is one file. Maybe it's a PDF or whatever it is that then they go to an expo and they try and get a banner made. And when you stretch out a file like that, it looks all distorted and pixelated. So then they don't have the proper tools because they've kind of gone down a cheaper road, let's just say, than having
Yeah.
all the proper files. So that's a big one is not investing in the right tools from the very beginning. Um, Mistakes. I mean, there's so many mistakes. We make
Yeah.
mistakes too. Everybody makes mistakes. Marketing
Sure.
is, if everybody knew the perfect answer, we'd be millionaires. But I think another thing that we see a lot is people kind of throwing out a bunch of different advertising initiatives. We're going to do a little bit of radio for a minute, and then we're going to do a billboard, and then we're going to do a TV for 3 seconds. And really, you do have to kind of make a decision and stick with it. Uh,
Mhm.
3 to 6 months to really see something work. And, there's a reason McDonald's has been on TV for what, 50 years.
Right.
The more you do it, the more consistent you are, the more it works. So we recommend finding something to start with that you can afford and sticking with it. And when that starts working, then add on something else and then add on something else rather than kind of that spray marketing where you're just trying a little bit of everything. That's never a recipe that we find works.
Yeah. Yeah. So, kind of working our way backwards, how do you guys ensure that a site is both high performing and visually compelling while trying to keep that balance between design, SEO, user experience?
Yeah, and that world has shifted so much because now, of course, you have AI involved in
Mhm.
all of it. I think the thing that makes our agency so unique is that we have the marketing strategy piece, but we also have the design piece. So
Yeah.
we can look at a website and really figure out the strategy and then make it look beautiful as well. And then programming on the back end for SEO compliance is huge. There's a lot of changes these days with vision impaired, and a lot
Mm.
of older sites don't meet the requirements. So they're essentially being punished by Google and AI for not being compliant for the visually impaired. So it's kind of knowing those things, being up on the trends, but really coming in with a strategy, looking at the trends. One of the things we find now is that we're also ADHD,
Yeah.
and information needs to be delivered in bite-sized pieces. So at one point, the strategy behind websites was get as much information in there as you can, as many words as you can to have SEO really work. And now that's really kind of a negative. Google recognizes it for what it is, and the people that are coming to your site to have a user experience they're overwhelmed by the amount of information. So you have to do a lot of imagery and big headlines, a lot of calls to action, have it look beautiful, have it be intuitive. The navigation is another thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is so important. You want to kind of understand what the consumer's coming for and make it easy for them to find the information and then make it easy for them to reach out to you. So that's how we do things here. There are a lot of companies out there that are still programming really SEO savvy, and you can see that in a footer on a
Mhm.
website at the bottom where 800 counties are listed and it's this long. That's for Google. That's not for the consumer, and it's something that's actually not needed because all that can be in the back end. It doesn't have to be
Oh,
face
and
forward.
yeah. I mean, there's so much. I mean, media is always evolving, always changing. I mean, from everything, but it is interesting, like even just consumer behavior. And you mentioned kind of that ADD, like, or just not have wanting to spend all that time and just wanting a quick answer. So, with paid media evolving so quickly, how do you stay aligned with partners and ensure that your clients are getting the best results?
A lot of research, a lot of relationships. TV's a great example. TV, it used to be that, when you reached out to a TV station, you just bought their station or cable or whatever. And now it's all about OTT, which is over the top advertising through streaming and delivering to people's smart TVs. And there are so many companies that offer that. And finding out the nuances of what is actually being delivered is so crucial. For example, if you're watching something on your smart TV, one program for an hour, and you see the same advertiser 10 times, it actually advertising actually starts to work against that business at that point.
Right.
It becomes so annoying. So you
Right.
wanna work with an OTT company that has minimums, in one program, we're only gonna deliver 2 messages.
Mm,
Making sure that it's a fair cost per thousand, making sure you're delivering to the right target. So really it's just constantly staying up on what companies are offering what in order to
yeah.
make sure your client's getting the best deal because we're just the kind of in the middle on that. We don't place it ourselves or we don't run it ourselves. We find out what the client's budget is and who they want to reach. And then we work with outside vendors to kind of find the best ones to deliver for our clients.
Yeah. I love that you're selective about what you keep in house versus partnering out. So, how do you decide what to do internally versus things that you collaborate on, especially in the paid media space?
Yeah, I mean, we know where we excel, and where we excel is in design and brand strategy. Websites and graphic design is the bulk of what we do, as well as marketing strategy and annual kind of plans. We don't do SEO because that is something that changes maybe every 10 seconds. And
Yeah.
and
It's a
there's a
beast of its own. Yeah.
yeah, it is, and we don't wanna claim to be experts in something we're not, so we find our best partners for that type of work, the people that are living it and breathing it every day. For us, we're living and breathing design every day and overall strategy, and we just kinda stay in our lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys position yourselves, or you've mentioned before, um, that you are an extension of your client's team. So, what does that look like in practice? And where do most agencies fall short in delivering that kind of experience?
We've got a lot of competition in Richmond. This is the biggest agency per capita city in the country.
Really? Okay.
But the majority of them are media buyers, and they were probably sales reps in television that maybe didn't make it and decided to start a media buying agency. S What we do for our clients as far as being that extension is we act as their marketing manager. So a lot of companies will hire somebody right out of college to oversee their marketing, which is kind of crazy because their marketing is one of the most important things that they do. So,
Learning.
uno, uh-uh. Positioning themselves in the market and how they represent themselves is so vital, but they tend to not put as much importance on that as they probably should. So they could pay somebody right out of college, say 40, $50,000 to take on that role who doesn't have experience really at all, or maybe they got a degree in social media. By coming to us, we can kind of be that hand where when they need graphic design materials done, they can just send us an email and it's done. We can manage their website. We can do all the updates. We can essentially manage their brand, making sure that it is consistent, making sure they have all the materials they need, making sure their marketing strategy is on point, following up on it. And they can do that at such a fraction of the cost of hiring just one human. It's unbelievable, and they don't have to pay benefits, and they don't have to manage somebody.
Yeah.
So that's how we really step in, and there aren't a lot of agencies that compete with us that way. As I was saying, there's a lot of media buyers, there's people that do one or the other, but they don't necessarily come in and just kinda help with the overall picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's gonna fail.
So good. Well, I love that he's here with you today and getting the training, and that real experience he needs to be a service dog. So, earlier you told me that your team is just really fun to work with. Like, how important do you think it is for that client relationship and chemistry in producing great work?
It's everything,
Yeah.
because, again, we are becoming your voice.
Mhm.
So if we don't innately understand your voice and we don't have a similar vibe or way of interacting, it's just not going to work. So we are very selective about who we take as well, because our motto here is really, this should all be really fun. We want to have fun with it. We want to really kind of celebrate your brand. And there are certain clients that don't really fit with that. They want maybe a more serious approach, or there's also got to be a lot of trust
Yeah.
between us. And so we focus on developing that relationship pretty intensely before we even really get involved in doing the work. We want to make sure we understand you. And an example of that would be, we just actually finished a completely new overhaul on a golf course, and they had a very traditional golf website, kind of stodgy and middle age. There was not a lot of color, there wasn't a lot of vibrance, but their whole message was that they have concerts and they have happy hours and they do zip lining and
Fun.
fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they went through 4 ad agencies that literally just kept repeating the exact same website, and unfortunately, they paid for that, and nothing really changed. And so we came in, analyzed the situation. Now when you go to their website, the very header, the beginning of it is a video of people at a concert on their golf course, moving around, having fun, lights. It's just really understanding what your client wants to put out there. Listening is a big one. Um,
Yeah.
so
No, that's awesome. It makes me wanna go. I wanna I'm not a golfer, but I wanna go.
it's so great. They have a tavern that does like trivia nights. I mean,
Love it.
it's such a great place. It's so much fun. And they don't you don't even have to be a member. Like, you could
Yeah.
literally go tonight,
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
nobody knew that either.
Yeah, but and that's just the power of marketing right there, right? You could be doing all these great things, but if you're not telling people about it, how do they know?
Yeah,
How do they know?
exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of marketing, it's we've kind of touched on this already as well, but it has evolved so much from traditional to digital to AI. Where do you see the biggest opportunities for businesses right now?
That's a great question. Digitally, you can reach people in a way that you never could before. It was, even when I first started in the business, it was very blind. I remember going out as a TV rep and having people say, "How do I know if it's working?" And it's like, you don't. And I think the biggest, hopefully you'll see the surge of people, but there's no tracking mechanism. And now everything's tracked. So the beautiful part about that is you can have a strategy you could have an entire year of testing where you do 3 months of over the top advertising through smart TVs. You do 3 months of Google ads. You do 3 months of social media ads. And then you can analyze that and you can see all the answers, and that was never available to us before. So I think it's actually probably evolved in a way that it's much easier to market, but I'm not sure if businesses that aren't working with an agency understand that or know how to take advantage of it.
Yeah. No, that's so true. I mean, how many times? I mean, there is a level of you do have to trust your clients and that partnership because there may be some things that do happen on the back end, but so many times I'm like, but is your business growing? Are you seeing?
That's
Are,
it.
is it
Yeah.
growing?
Yeah. And I actually had a brief stint in direct mail somewhere in all
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And we would actually put a call tracking number in the ad. And then we'd be able to monitor the calls that came in. And I can't even tell you how many times I would go back and listen to calls, and they would say they're the only way they would be calling that number is because it was in that ad. And
Yeah.
yet they'd call and say, "I just saw you on TV. I just heard you on the radio. I heard about you from a friend."
Yeah.
So it was really unfortunate because you could do a lot of good for somebody and they wouldn't give you credit for it. They wouldn't know it.
Right.
And now it's indisputable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so trackable. It's wild. Well, I it would be a miss if we didn't talk about this, but you've built initiatives around supporting local nonprofits and community connections. How important is community involvement in building a strong brand today?
It's really important, but it also has to be authentic.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people make that mistake. And the easiest way to make it authentic is to really consider what your heart aligns with, what you deeply care about, or something that you really care about that really aligns with what your business does. And then get behind it wholeheartedly. And so what we did is we actually started a nonprofit initiative called We Are River City. And that was really intended to help what I just said in terms of the authenticity. So we have nonprofits that have signed up as participants and they're listed on our website with a description of what they do and who they help. And then we have businesses that are listed that are there to say, hey, we're offering a discount to any nonprofit that needs our services. But what's beautiful about that is a business that is looking to get involved in the community can go to our site and read about all the different nonprofits
That's
listed
cool.
there and
Yeah.
and find one that really makes sense for them. I think the worst thing you can do is kind of pretend to be involved in something in the community and not and have it really be just to make profit. You really do have to givers gain,
Hmm.
have to kind of lead. And we do that here with our nonprofits. Anybody that's a nonprofit, we do our work at 15% off, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
And it's just our small way of giving back as well as the We Are River City initiative.
Yeah. That's so wonderful. Well, is there anything else maybe we haven't covered that you want to share or feel like is important to share on today's episode?
Well, I would be negligent in not talking about podcasts.
Yes. I know.
So,
Yeah, say
yeah.
it.
So we started a podcast, about 4 years ago called River City Podcast, and we started it because we realized a lot of businesses wanted to have podcast representation,
Mhm.
but they didn't know how to do it, and they didn't have the equipment, and unfortunately, a mistake a lot of them made was holding their phone up and talking and putting that out into the universe. We decided to create a platform that would really give them more credibility and more trust and also make them appear more professional than trying to do it themselves.
Yeah.
So we bring in businesses and nonprofits and we just have a conversation like you and I are having, but it's an opportunity for people to really get to know them, for them to build that trust, build that authenticity, maybe tell some funny stories, maybe give some great advice that could truly help. And that's something that I think is a space a lot of people are confused about. It does go out to the whole world. It's not geographically based. So a lot of people are kind of like, how does that really help? But I think that just the world is changing, like we've talked about, and people are
Absolutely.
consuming that content. So if you can find a way to get involved in it that isn't as cheesy as just holding your phone up to your mouth and talking
Right.
for 30 minutes, it's a great opportunity for people as well.
Yeah, I think it brings, like, a personable side of who they are and the work that they do, so,
And
uh
let's face it, there is only so much you can say in a 30-second TV ad.
sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining our show today. And for anyone listening and you want to find out more about River City Consulting and their team, you can log on to rivercityconsulting.com or follow them over on LinkedIn. And thanks again for checking out today's episode brought to you by Exact Digital, your dedicated partner in performance driven digital. Let us know how we can help you and have a great day. Thanks
Thanks
again,
for
Jeff.
having me.